Am I looking at you to do this? Yeah, okay. My name's Sarah Filmer. I'm an artist who lives and works in Southampton. So Knit the Walls is a very long-term community knitting project. It started in 2016. It is an invitation for the people of Southampton and beyond to use their yarn skills or learn some yarn skills to knit or crochet or somehow other fashion a version of the Southampton's medieval walls. It started with just one idea, which was to knit a version of the walls, and over the 6 years that it's run, it has evolved in all sorts of ways, and all the sort of new ideas are generated by the people who take part in the project. We've made knitted suits so that we could be the walls. We've filmed us in knitted suits. It's a permanent video installation in God's House Tower. We were talking about how the stones might get cold in the winter, and so we knitted them jackets. So all sorts of random ideas sort of generate from people getting together and thinking about the project. Initially, the meaning of the project was to knit a version of the walls that somehow reflected the unrecorded history of the citizens of Southampton. The walls have been here for about 800 years and have obviously witnessed a lot of big events which are recorded, but also all the everyday events that are not necessarily recorded. So the sort of everyday lives of particularly women that don't get recorded. I think the ways that we've expressed those ideas and the different ways that people have chosen to be involved in the project, I think those things have changed and developed.
Yeah, I'm married to Sarah, who's the artist, so I've been coming from the very beginning. Did it start in 2016?
I've been coming to Knit the Walls since it started, right at the beginning.
Since the start.
I've been coming to Knit the Walls for 6 years, since Sarah started the project.
Probably almost from the start, I think. Maybe not the very first session, but very, very early on. I thought it sounded like a really intriguing idea, so I came along.
About 5 years, I think, probably.
I've been coming to Knit the Walls for about 3 years.
3 years.
About 3 years.
3-4 years, I think.
Yes, I've knitted and crocheted since I was a child.
Can't remember a time when I couldn't knit.
I did. I did both a lot when I was younger, but hadn't in recent years.
I hadn't done it for about 20 odd years before Knit the Walls.
Not very well. I've certainly learned more on Knit the Walls, but before Knit the Walls there was another project called the Blue Jumper, which was another project that Sarah had done, and I learned to knit on that.
Didn't crochet at all. I did learn how to crochet when I came to Knit the Walls, which has been great.
Before Knit the Walls, I hadn't tried knitting or crocheting. Sarah's been very patient on a number of times and tried to help me crochet. Haven't quite mastered it yet.
No, never in my life.
No, I didn't do anything related to knitting before Knit the Walls.
No, I'm rubbish. No, I'm really rubbish. So no.
So yes, the beauty of Knit the Walls is getting together and knitting together, and obviously COVID did interrupt that. We did have a few sessions on Zoom, which were lovely, and they were fun and beautiful, and it was right at the beginning of COVID, and so there was still a novelty, but I really did feel that people had become zoomed out and screened out, and so we did have quite a long break. And then when we finally did get back together, the beautiful thing was how kind of joyful it was when we did regroup and carry on knitting in the same place together. So on the one hand, obviously COVID was a terrible disruption, but it also did kind of highlight the joy that we do have when we do get together.
I did knit during COVID because I did online Knit the Walls.
Do you know, only with the Knit the Walls Zoom.
I did do some pieces at home, so when we all came together again, I was able to bring them to add to the pile.
I did a Knit the Walls thing online, so I joined in with that.
I actually took up crochet at the start of lockdown. Found a crochet hook and some yarn and started crocheting from there. Now I'm completely addicted.
I tried and I failed. It's not the same, it's much better coming here.
No, so I was coming along a little bit online to some of the Knit the Walls things, but the first one, I hadn't, because I can't knit really, I'd got the knitting needles and I've got the balls of wool, and I didn't know how to start it off, so I just had to watch it because I didn't know how to knit. So no, I didn't knit during COVID.
This is my brick to add to the wall, and I hope to cover something with it today.
Right now, I'm just beginning this masterpiece.
Oh, look at that. Someone else has done all of this. I'm about halfway through this row and already I've messed it up. I've dropped a stitch and I've made some of them really tight, so I'm going to be stuffed when I come back going the other way. So yeah, woo, get me.
So this is what I'm working on at the moment. I just kind of do random patterns. Depends on what I'm doing. So if I'm talking to people quite a lot, I tend to opt for quite a simple pattern, which is what I've been doing today.
This is my pathetic star, but I love it. Every patch I start, I'm proud of it.
Today I've picked up a couple of balls and I'm just doing like a brick, really.
So at the moment I'm making long poles to go into Sarah Filmer's chair.
I am working on a little bit of wall with a little bit of wool. It's just a mix of colours that I really like. Squarey, rectangular-y, bricky thing.
So this is a tiny little bit of knitting that I'm doing because I want to cover my granny's teacup with it.
It's not very exciting, but I think that we need to, I think one of the ambitions is to get as much knitting as possible, because I think there's going to be some walls that we're going to make, so I thought I'd just do a big square today.
Today I'm working on an apron, which I started putting together out of Knit the Walls bricks. It counts as historical dress as well, I suppose.
At the moment, I'm trying to cover a plastic bucket with some knitting ready for the final show.
Because of my crochet failures, we are just wrapping a object in yarn to be part of Sarah's exhibition, and I wanted to find an object from God's House Tower, and this is, you'd use it to open an old drain that's now buried below the tower. So it's kind of a big key that was in the building when we moved in, and I felt that would have some significance if I could yarn it and add it to the exhibition, so it kind of links the building, its history, Sarah, yarn.
Oh, big question. What does it mean to me? It's a very familiar and lovely meeting point, just to see people. I have a sense of investment in it. There are lots of little bits of me in the walls, in all of that fabric and that fibre.
I come here in a number of different roles. So the first role that I come here obviously is to support Sarah. So Knit the Walls is an important project for her, and so because I want to support her, it's an important project for me, so I want to come and help her. But also because I really like doing it. I like the notion of your hands are busy, and so therefore your tongue is loose. You chat away to people.
I think that communal knitting like this and having the icebreaker is a really good thing for mental health as well, and especially, for example, young people who have got more cognitive skills than they have perhaps social skills, and they'd really like to make new friends, but they find that really difficult. If they're all sitting around working on a project together, then that's really, really helpful.
It means community. It means, for me, coming together for a common cause, for a common craft, and I just like the fact that we can sit outside and crochet, and talk and chat, and there's this like real community that Sarah has built in the last 10 years with Knit the Walls, just with this common cause of making.
I love how it's a mix of a beautiful building where you can really feel the history, and then brilliant people coming and having lovely conversations with people, cake, boys, crucial, knitting, I should probably say knitting, even though for me I'm not very good at it, so that's a bit lower down the priority list, and it's just really fun.
Yeah, and like community. It's like a nice community thing to be part of and meeting new people.
It's a happy place. It's a lovely place to come. I mean, the building is beautiful, and just to sit in all this history and recreate it with wool, it's fun.
Knit the Walls to me is a community project, a lovely project. And the word lovely sounds silly, but it is. I just love coming here and sitting and chatting, and sometimes not even chatting, just listening to people and being able to learn something like through the knitting, and just being with people in the community and having some nice buns.
Knit the Walls means an awful lot, I think, to this building actually as well. To me personally, it's just been a real highlight of working in God's House Tower. I think it's really important. It's been a really important project to bring people together and bring them into this building.
I like the fact that I don't have to be good at it. I like the fact that I can turn up, do my thing, and it looks a bit scruffy or scrappy, but it's all part of a bigger thing, and I feel included in this much bigger thing, which I've really enjoyed.
I'm just knitting a sort of fairly boring square, but that's going to get made into something that's much more exciting and alive and meaningful. So it's great to be part of that.
When it started, you didn't really know where it was going. We were knitting the Southampton walls. That sounds like a barking mad idea. What are we doing? But I just really enjoyed watching it develop and grow. The walls turning into suits that can be danced in. Now the walls maybe being turned into a room, and us covering familiar objects, domestic objects, or objects that have a personal history to us, in knitted bits and pieces. And so that I am really looking forward to seeing the room, so that you walk into the room and you will be able to say, oh look, that tiny little bit of knitting, or that really higgledy-piggledy bit there, that's me, I did that.
The snacks and the buns and the coffee, obviously that's my real favourite bit.
My favourite part is the cakes and the dogs. We have lots of dogs that visit.
Cake.
Sorry, I'll do that again.
Well, I heard the cakes are really good, so I guess cake and coffee.
Texture and colour, including everybody's work.
Genuinely, I have no idea. I have no idea. I sort of don't want to know. I don't want to think about or imagine what it will be, and I feel no need to do that. I'm just really excited to see what has emerged, what is there, how it is rationalised and put together and made sense of, or not. Hopefully it isn't made too much sense of. I think there's scope to just let it be what it is, and I like that thought. Yeah.
It feels a bit like it's going to be a discovery.
I suspect it will be surprising somehow.
Something large, I think. Something maybe you can get in.
In my head, I'm seeing a sort of soft, welcoming room, familiar objects in the room, and different. Yeah.
In my head, it's big. That we create a space that is that you can go inside. That all the walls are wool, and there are objects and things all covered in wool. But it's got to be big in my. Yeah, I would like it to be big, because the project has felt big. So I'd like it to be a big thing. I'm almost certain it will look like wool.
Woolly. I don't know. I think it'll be really good though.
Not perfect, but lots of colour and lots of texture. It's going to be quite three-dimensional.
It's going to be amazing. I know that.
Knitted. Don't know. Knitted. That's all I've got. I think it will look knitted. and Wally.
What do I think the final project will look like? So there was never really any sort of grand design for how this would look at the end, but I am going to draw the project to a close because it's been going for a long time, and yeah, it's time to move to something new and regular, I think, probably. Our plan is to use all the knitted material that we have, and also probably knit some more still, to make a room, and the walls will be made of knitting, and everything in the room will be covered with knitting. So it's a sort of a kind of more of an embodiment of the ideas of the project in terms of this idea of domestic space and everydayness and our everyday sort of lived lives, and how that might look in a Knit the Walls context. So yes, there'll be a room.
I'd like to thank Sarah for doing this, for bringing us all together.
Oh gosh, Sarah, I think she's a genius. I think she's fantastic. I love the fact that she thinks of these slightly odd ideas, and then just runs with them. Like, she doesn't think, oh, let's do this and there will be this at the end of it. She thinks, let's do this, let's see how it develops organically, let's see what people make of it. And I love the fact that every time you do something, she says, oh yeah, that's really great, that's great. She doesn't say, why don't you do it like this, or why don't you do it like that. She lets you do your own thing. And yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, I'd like to say well done, Sarah. Good project. I've really enjoyed it. So have lots of other people. And looking forward to your next idea.
I'd like to say thank you for putting this on.
I'd like to say thank you to Sarah for hosting Knit the Walls, for having the inspiration and the idea to even recreate walls with wool.
I would like to say a great big well done to Sarah.
I'd like to say thank you, Sarah, for giving me the opportunity to learn to knit and to meet other knitters, and to and in a little way challenge the stereotype.
Thank you, because it's been amazing. I was too scared to come at first because I don't knit, but in actual fact it's been amazing.
A big thank you to Sarah for her enthusiasm and bringing her talents to God's House Tower.
Thank you, Sarah, for thinking up this bonkers project and for keeping it going for so long.
Thank you for doing this project. Thank you for inviting people. Thank you for making a space to talk and chat and make.
Thanks for inspiration. She is inspirational. You are inspirational.
Yes, happy wedding anniversary. But that's maybe not the answer that you're looking for.
I'm really waffling. I don't know what I'm saying. Ask me again, I don't know what I'm saying. What do I think?